Ariel Helwani in Mexico City for UFC 180 alongside Ricardo Lamas, who meets Dennis Bermudez this Saturday night live on pay-per-view. And Ricardo, I remember talking to you a few months ago, and you said you had to get on this card. This is the card that you wanted. You even wanted Dennis Bermudez. What's it like being here now, just 48 hours removed? You got your T-shirt on. Everyone's talking to you in Spanish. What's it like being here?
It's awesome. I mean, for me, this is like a dream come true. You know, as soon as I found out the UFC was coming here, I was bugging Sean Shelby to put me on the card, and he came through for me and got me on here. I really wanted to do it because, you know, this is where my culture, my roots come from. My mother was born here in Mexico in Monterrey, and it's just, you know, it's one of the things I wanted to do. So I'm really glad I have the opportunity to do it now.
Now, is it tough, you know, because it's so exciting to be here and it's so special, but at the end of the day, you have a job to do, and it doesn't matter if that cage is in New Mexico or California, that you have to kind of separate those emotions from the actual task at hand. Has that been tricky at all for you?
No, not at all. When it comes down to business, I'm always there 100% focused. There's nothing that could really take me out of my zone, especially on fight night. So, you know, separating that, it has been no problem for me.
I saw on the Embedded show that they've been doing, the second episode, you went with your brother to a burrito stand, and it looked torturous for me watching it, just, you know, on the computer. I can't imagine what it was like for you. How difficult was that?
It was bad. I mean, it wasn't only the smell from that one, but there was a line of them down the street. So you had all the smell of all the food cooking, and I got to take one bite of one of his tacos. So that helped me over, and then I ran to the cab and went back to the hotel. But yeah, it was. I'll definitely be partaking in some of that after the fight.
Are you sticking around after the fight?
No, unfortunately, they're sending me back on Sunday, but I want to make a return as soon as I can when I don't have to make weight.
So you wanted Bermudez. Why?
He's just a tough up-and-comer, you know, and I felt like we'd put on a good fight for the fans. And, you know, that's pretty much it, man.
You know, you recently got a title shot earlier this year, and he's on a great winning streak, 7 in a row. But it seems like, you know, obviously Conor making a lot of noise, and there's Cub and Frankie next week. Do you sympathize with him? At least right now, I know you're going to go out there and fight him and you want to beat him, but this is a guy who's on a great winning streak, who it appears as though maybe even this time next year, if all goes to plan, he might not even get a title shot. Do you sympathize with him at all?
Yeah, of course. You know, we're all in this for the same thing. We all want that chance. We all want that shot at the title. We all want to be world champions. He's been putting in the work. He's been winning his fights. And, you know, this is a huge fight for him. You know, I'm probably the highest ranked fighter that he's gone up against. And, yeah, I definitely sympathize, but, you know, it's part of the game. Right now there's a lot of guys that are kind of fighting in front of the line to get to the title. So I had to sit and wait for a year, you know, to get my title shot, and it sucks, but it's part of the game sometimes.
You know, yesterday at the media day, you received a lot of attention for your impersonation of Conor McGregor. And when you were doing it, it just seemed like, you know, you're a pretty, you know, calm, cool, and collected guy. It seems like he gets on your nerves. Is that accurate? Like that was coming from a bit of a dark place. Accurate?
Not a dark place. I mean, it's hard to hate someone that I've never even met him. I don't know him personally. It's hard to hate somebody like that. I just don't like the persona that he puts on. I know that probably isn't even the real him. So, I mean, he wants to get on everybody's nerves, I guess. But no, I have no hate for the guy. No bad feelings. I don't wish him any harm. Just is what it is.
Can you admit, though, that he has made the featherweight division a whole lot more interesting, that it's being talked about more today than it ever was?
Definitely. You know, he's a character that people want to see. He's bringing a lot of attention to the UFC featherweight division, and that's good for all of us.
What do you make of the decision to put him up against Dennis Siver next after beating Dustin Poirier?
Personally, I think I'm not saying that the UFC is giving him easy fights. Not at all. The guys that he's gone up against are very tough fighters. Once you get to the UFC, you're tough. I'm saying that they're giving him guys that match up well with his style. We haven't seen him against a tough wrestler yet. We haven't seen him against, you know, a guy like me or a guy like Chad or a guy like Dennis. And I think that's going to be the real test for him.
Were you hoping that maybe, you know, since he just fought not that long ago, you win this fight and you could get a crack? Like, are you a little disappointed that he already has a fight?
No, I'm not disappointed. I'm 100% focused on Dennis Bermudez right now, and I'm not thinking about anything else.
How far away do you think from being back into that discussion?
I think with a win over Dennis, it'll put me back in the heads, you know, in the minds of people with discussions over a possible title shot. But I could see another 3 more fights after that, and I'm fine with that. You know, I want to have fun with what I'm doing, and I want to stay active. I want to have another 3 fights next year at least, and just enjoy what I'm doing.
I heard you tell someone that you think that Dennis kind of reminds you of yourself, but maybe a couple years ago. What do you mean by that?
Just that he's getting better and better in every fight. When he first came on the scene, he was kind of straight wrestler, and I was the same way. But now he's evolving into a better fighter, a more well-rounded fighter, and that's what I meant by that.
Right. And do you see any like major holes in his game at this point?
He's a tough guy. Holes. People have tendencies and make mistakes and do things in their fights that, yes, I've seen in some of his fights, and I'll try to exploit those on Saturday.
All right, looking forward to it. Best of luck to you, and thanks for the time.
Thank you.